Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendo. Thanks a lot for joining us. We're just a few weeks away from the start of campaign season. Politics is still very hot in the air. All the parties involved are still trying to sort out all their internal wranglings. And Nigerians are watching, but some are watching from afar. We're going to be talking today about what has become the Japa culture. A lot of Nigerians are trying to find their way out of the country, understandably for a lot of reasons. But what can we do to stem what is going to be an eventual problem for the country? We already see it in every single sector of Nigerian life, whether it's tech, whether it's medicine, whether it's entertainment. We're going to be talking about that today. Should you or should you not exit, like Andrew did back in the 80s? I'm joined here by Blessing Abeng, who's a co-founder in Ingressive for Good. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
And Nkonya Akuma, a migration expert. I like that tag. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to read out a few data. Said there was a survey by Pew, which talked about basically the numbers of what's happening in Nigeria. I mean, a couple of countries are surveyed, and Nigeria topped the charts with people with the most numbers of people who want to leave their countries for another country. About 14% have already taken necessary steps. 30% have applied for necessary documents like passports or a visa. 34% have saved or borrowed money to do that. And at least 55% of Nigerians have a plan of some sort to leave. That's heavy. That's good for your business, I guess. But tech seems to be also hit. I hear a lot of people who employ labor saying, "Oh, my manager just quit last week," or here that's becoming a very recurrent story. In medicine, we hear that a lot. I think it was Bauchi. I can't remember the exact state in the north. Now let me not quote. Where they say they have just about 100 doctors left in the entire state.
Oh, wow.
That's how bad it is. What's your thoughts on what's happening from your sector's perspective and what you do as a business?
I mean, it's hard for the ecosystem, but it's also challenging people to do more and think different. Of course, the brain drain is alarming. It's so sad to go through any process of hiring and then eventually you now have to think about hiring someone else just because someone else is leaving. So people need to sort of explore newer ways. Thanks to COVID, well, no thanks to COVID, but also thanks to COVID, it sort of helped us see what was possible, that remote work was possible. And really that opened a couple of doors for people to apply for jobs, to apply for opportunities to earn in bigger foreign currencies. It's sad, but we can also understand why people are doing it. It's about means of livelihood, it's about survival. Immigration is a survival instinct.
Yeah.
Animals do it, human beings do it. It's sad, but I mean, we need to dig deeper to think about the underlying reason why that is happening.
Yeah. Speaking of reasons now, you obviously deal with a lot of people who are going through this process. I mean, there are some sectors you can say, okay, we can always find somebody else, but things like medicine, doctors are so critical to life. I read somewhere that between 2016 and 2018, which was pre all of the drama we're seeing now, at least 9,000 doctors left Nigeria. For the UK, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Australia, wherever it is, 9,000 in just 2 years. And between 2018 and now, we know it's gotten even worse. What sort of reasons do you hear? Is it just a money issue? Is it the fact that they don't see any reason to stay back here anymore?
So coming from the medical aspect, most of the doctors that I have come in contact with have actually explained. For one, we have a very poor health system. A health system where there are no up-to-date facilities to be able to guide or help through with the entire process as a medical doctor in the hospitals. And you have patients who eventually, you're having patients come in and you don't have the necessary facilities to take care of these patients. So it's the poor healthcare system. I've met a couple of doctors who have said to me they're underpaid. For the length of years, you can imagine going to medical school, come out housemanship, and for the length of years they've been in school, they come out and you probably hear a doctor being paid 100,000, 150. After the years of investment. So in most cases, they want to be in countries where their degree, the skills, their expertise, knowledge is seem as relevant, and then is also put into good use, and at the end of the day is beneficial to the economy and themselves.
Yeah. What sectors do you see the most flight from?
I have to be honest with you, it's
Across
every sector.
board.
Yes, across board right now. The doctors, the tech guys, like you mentioned, a lot of the tech guys.
Finance as well.
Yes, finance, client services. So I really have I worry that our service system at some point, like she mentioned, the brain drain. I worry that it would hit us bad in that regard, because trust me, we're here and then you probably have a HR that has gotten a cast letter to leave, or recently we had issues with the banking. I don't know if you were aware, GT, Zenith, their systems were down. It was crazy for weeks on end, and these guys are leaving. Really, so it's across board.
And even beyond that, there are some workers who are seen here as menial workers, like truck drivers.
Very sought after too.
Sought after heavily, and they earn way more. Their skills are respected. Even as a hairdresser in the UK, for example, you make way more money. You would have way more time on your hands versus if you were
hair costs like 300. This will cost like about 300 pounds. Thereabouts. Yes, true.
I think I saw a joke on Twitter some time ago about somebody who put in a paper and said she was resigning, and there was like hoopla in the office, and then she bought a flight to relocate to Canada, and her HR manager was on the flight as well.
Oh wow!
Moving to Canada.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about this kind of skills that are required or whatever. Do you think this is going to stop anytime soon, or are we just even starting? Here's why I ask that. The economies around the world are crashing. So you would think, okay, everywhere is bad, or as bad as where you're coming from. But we are going through our own problems with the security and all of that. But across the world, especially the developed world, population is declining. So they need people. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of people who want to leave. Is this just the start of what might be a bigger problem, you think?
Okay, I definitely think so. We have a large younger population. The countries that are battling with their young population, right? They have older population, but they don't have a lot of young people to do the work that they need. Also, we're willing to take a pay cut because when we think about the value of the money versus the value of the lives we're living down here, it doesn't make sense. One of the biggest reasons I've heard from people is access, right? Just like the value of your passport. I know someone who lost a promotion because he couldn't get a visa to go for an important meeting, and somebody else who had a blue passport had the freedom to go for that meeting, and that person was chosen over him for the promotion. I also know a couple of friends who work in the tech sector, and they had this retreat in Europe, and of all the people that applied, only 10 people got the visas. It's very limiting, and everybody knows that freedom is important. That's freedom, that access, having the choice to be able to say, this is what I want to do, not necessarily doing it, but having that choice. It's really difficult to be Nigerian. You're already labeled a certain way. Your passport already limits you. You go through a lot of things, right? And so by default, people just are looking for better opportunities. And the country is not exactly getting better. Inflation is not getting better. And one thing I know I have as a conversation with my friends is Nigeria is not very citizen-centric. It's like, it's Nigeria, but they don't think, I don't think our leaders think, how can we keep our citizens at the forefront? How can we create
policy,
of anything? Like, how can we create with our people in mind? How can we make transportation easier for our people? How can we make their means of livelihood easier? So when people go to new countries and they see, wow, these people care so much about me and I'm not even a citizen, it changes their mindset. There's so much that we think about. I was talking to a friend recently and I was like, decision fatigue is a thing. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking, oh, there might be no light. We need to buy gen. I need to buy fuel. Oh, fuel might spoil soon. My security. There's just so much that you're thinking about that's not part of your basic life. It's not important. And by the time you're now doing the things that are important, you're burned out. So when people experience a different life that is not as tasking, it feels better. Life feels better. The middle class is just one illness away from poverty.
Let me ask a two-part question. First to you, I'll ask you the other part of it. First is, I hear you, but a lot of us have probably been outside of Nigeria and either to leave or visit, and you know when you don't belong, right? The idea of a second-class citizen is very real. I schooled abroad. I was there for 2 years, and I know how different things felt. Is that ever a factor, you think? Or people don't just really care? As long as I can make that money, you know, I can be a second-class citizen wherever, whether it's by racism or my nationality. We all know how Nigerians get treated in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Does that factor in, you think, to anybody's
Definitely,
thought?
I have definitely had conversations where people bring this up. However, there's also the fact that in your own country, you're also treated as a second-class citizen. NSAS was one of the biggest triggers for like if you check the statistics, the number of people that emigrated after NSAS was not
There was a
funny.
spike.
Yes, because it was like, I don't even feel safe in my country. I don't feel safe as a citizen of my country. There's no one I can complain to. However, I could even, you know, file a lawsuit against somebody, even if I'm a second-class citizen. It feels like I have more rights as a second-class citizen than as a first-class citizen. So sometimes that affects how people view it and
Yeah.
see it. And so, yes, it's a problem, but it's something they're willing to swallow at some point
Yeah.
because it's not exactly very different in their homeland.
Yeah. So that's an argument against immigrating.
Yeah.
But for immigration, I've heard people say, well, you know, what's it called? Remittances from Nigerians abroad is one of our highest foreign exchange earners or revenue earners even for the country, period. Billions of dollars coming to this country every year from Nigerians to the diaspora. Is it also probably a good way to look at it, like we're feeding a system that's going to benefit us economically? Does that make sense?
Feeding a system that would benefit us economically, honestly, we have the dollar devaluation right now, right? The naira devaluation to dollar, and it's not going to be far from now. I mean, there've been airlines. We've heard from the airlines that are actually right now
Yeah.
suspending flights, and some are saying
Or
they're
insisting
that-
on dollar
exactly
payments.
because of the dollar payments. As much as we have this this access from the people in diaspora, I mean, making waves for what's it called in Nigeria now, the economy. At the same time, there's also a downside to really, like I said, with the whole dollar, the
Drama.
naira devaluation. I had a conversation with someone a few days ago, and he said to me, I worry we'll get to a point where we will not have access to our FX in our bank accounts. And
Everybody's been talking about
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's a legit fear.
look, exactly. And so in as much as we have people in diaspora sending the money in, I mean, is this also channeled into a better economy, a stable economy? I mean, an environment where we know, oh, these funds are coming in, it'll be used to better the lives of citizens, really. So as much as these funds are coming in, I mean, there's also a worry about will it be utilized in such a way that it would also benefit
Yeah.
the people in the economy.
So if you talk to our parents or our grandparents or whatever, they tell you that this has happened in phases. You know, in the 70s, around the Civil War, right after, there was a whole wave of people who left. Then sometime in the 80s as well with the COOLs and SAP, especially Structural Adjustment Program, there was another wave of people who left. In the 90s, it happened as well when the June 12 was annulled. So it's like at every point in time, this sort of wave happens.
Yeah.
But it's also the argument that this might not be a wave because this feels a little different. In the past, you had fear of the economy collapsing, but this time it looks like it's multifaceted. You know, there's insecurity, there's just so much happening. Do you think this, I mean, elections are coming. People are saying, oh, we're listening to the
Yeah.
candidates to see if there's some hope somewhere. Do you think this tide will stem at some point, or you
I
think
think
this is
it's
different?
totally dependent on who becomes president next, for sure. Because you would then feel a certain level of hope or lack of hope. And that's going to be the big decision factor, right? Just the way we've had waves of people leaving, we've also had waves of people coming back. And it's heavily dependent on who is ruling, what policies are in place. If I come here, will I succeed? I'm super sure that in the next 5-10 years, most of the people who have left would consider coming back. Home is different. You know, we all have ties back here. Everybody has ties back. No matter where you travel to, you come back to your family, your sister, your friends, your whoever, right? And so people will definitely come back if they feel there is an opportunity for them to
Yeah.
succeed. And if they feel like, you know, the environment is conducive for them to leave. One important factor that I think we don't talk about enough is Nigeria used to be very community-centric. We used to come from a community-led approach where we solve community problems with community solutions. But things had sort of evolved over time where we're now approaching community problems with individual solutions. The roads are bad, let's buy a bigger car. There's no lights, let's buy a bigger jet. And so now Nigeria is not working for me. Let me figure my life out.
Yeah.
Everybody else would be fine. Nobody's thinking about Nigeria when they're trying to leave, right? And so if somebody can really make them feel, there's something in Nigeria worth thinking about, worth considering, definitely, I think it would be a wave. But
Yeah.
if not, it might be an actual drain.
Yeah. So you obviously talk to a lot of people and you probably know a lot of the reasons why. If you can, what's the one thing you think, if it got fixed or tackled even, would stem this from the reasons you hear from people? Are people afraid? Like she said, NSARS, insecurity, my life is not safe here.
Yeah.
Is it an economic issue? If the economy improves and other factors are still kind of there, will people stay back? What do you think is the one thing that could sort of help slow this down at least?
So in my opinion, it would be, cut across some of the things that you've said. Invest heavily in the education system, in my opinion. Coming from being an immigration expert.
A lot of people are leaving for school.
For school,
Yeah.
true. Because, at the moment, they understand that's actually like the easiest
way.
route to leave right now. So invest heavily in the education system. You invest in the education system, you're also investing in the human capital, right? And then at the same time, you're eventually investing in the economy, growing the economy more like. So, like I said, in my opinion, it would be invest in the education system. It's so sad, not to shade anyone, but we've had teachers that teach right now in schools that are not qualified teachers.
Sure.
It's not shade, it's fact.
We're also churning out graduates that cannot,
Defend their certificates, yeah.
exactly, compete at international standards. They're with their counterparts. We're still dealing with the old curriculum. What my father probably knew in the 70s is what they're still teaching my daughter. It's crazy. So I think, in my opinion, if the government invests in, in education, we'll start from there. We've been on strike. The federal schools have been on strike since February. It seems like nothing is happening. No one cares about the individuals, this younger generation who are basically the backbone of the economy. And so I think investing in the educational system is one good way to help invest in the economy and
Get people engaged.
Yes, exactly.
And probably
Funny enough, I have not so much of a conflicting opinion, but an alternate thought, right? Where what we do at Ingressive, for example, is educating people to learn tech skills, right, for free. And what we've noticed is that internet tech has created an opportunity where people now have access to education. Well, not basic education, but they do have access to, if I want to learn software development, I can learn it in 6 months.
Yeah.
We've had painters who learned software development and got foreign jobs, right? So I know that education is important, but I also think that is a bigger leverage problem. I think as a government, as Nigeria, we need to have leverage. We don't have leverage. Turkey could wake up one morning and say, we don't want you to be in our country anymore. Dubai can wake up and be like, we don't want Nigerians traveling here. So many times, do you understand? We don't have leverage. We don't have anything we can come back and fight with. And we do have a couple of resources that are working out for us. We have tech startups, we have great businesses, but somehow at the back of my mind, I can't shake the feeling that Nigeria just thinks of things that are working and thinks, oh no, this thing is working too much. Let's curb it. There's that energy. It's so consistent. It's like, oh, too many people are now investing with dollars. Yeah. Where are they getting the dollars from?
Then they cop that, yeah.
Less, and people want to go to school. This is an opportunity. Like you said, FX inflow is an opportunity. Think about how can we take that opportunity and make it into something big. Are there particular resources that we have? We have a great talent pool. What can we do with that? How can we better engage our people? But I don't see us thinking from that perspective. Do you understand? And I think that if we could maybe think more about people development, yes, education, but beyond education, startups are also very strong anchors of economies, right? Startups hire larger masses. Of course, bigger companies will hire a lot of people at once, but small startups would create jobs in small places. And when you see like 1 million startups, you could create at least 2 million jobs. But you're not enabling startups. You're bringing policies that ruin.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then there are companies, international companies are collaborating with our startups here. International companies are acquiring our startups. Our music, international people are collaborating with our musicians here. So there's this partnership, collaboration that is going on. Why is our government not also thinking, how can we enable this collaboration? How can we make it better? How can we capitalize on it? Are there ways that we can tax these people? They know we're the emerging economy. They're coming here for a reason. How can we better place them so our people benefit? And I think that's something that Ghana is getting right. It would be interesting to find ways to, you know, as Nigeria, think about opportunities like that for us.
So we're going to take a break now and be right back. Please stay with us.
Get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
On a final note, maybe I should just lead off from that to you. With what you do, you sort of help people figure out their lives outside of Nigeria. Is there a role for governments in that? Not necessarily in letting them leave, but sort of working in that system so that it's not a lose-lose situation. Or what can government do?
Don't want to talk bias right now. I would. What can the government do? I mean, we've asked this question over the past years, and then we still see it's almost same circles that we are actually running in all the time. It's sad to say that. I don't want to say there's not so much, to be honest, and that's why I said I didn't want to sound biased, but at this point, it seems like she mentioned, it seems like we are just on our own at the moment right now. The government isn't focusing on what's in place to better the lives of their citizens at this point. And so students, individuals have taken it upon themselves to say, you know what, if the government is not for me, I'll look for greener pastures. I'll look for a better way to...
We're already governments of ourselves.
Yeah,
anyway.
Exactly, that's the word. So honestly, as sad as it
we don't see a place
I don't
for them.
see, I
don't even know that they see a place for
I do
themselves.
see one thing that they can do though.
Okay.
It's actually cooler to be in Nigeria and earning foreign currency because the value of your money looks better, right? Because inflation would still affect it, but definitely inflation would still affect it. But there is also a level of stability because you've been earning $1,000, it's still $1,000, as opposed to I've been earning $500K, which was $1,000, but it's now quite $900. And it keeps fluctuating when you think internationally. So there's that opportunity. So if we had things like power, internet to start with, this education problem we're even talking about could find solutions there. People would still find their individual ways to find solutions. People would be able to even create businesses and all of those things. Yes, it might not affect the full economy, but it would help. It would create opportunities. It would make it easier to do business. Somebody that I personally know was having this a conversation with me, and he had a work call. Right in the middle of the work call, his internet froze, NEPA took lights. And his colleague just said, oh, he's in Nigeria. And everybody's like, oh. And that was so embarrassing because, how can I...
They know us, sorry.
From Nigeria be
it's not news.
Your identity. It's such a terrible identity to have. So if they could just do the little things, you don't have to do too much. First start with lights. Let light be constant. Just that little thing. And then we could move on to the next best thing.
Thank you very much. I know this conversation, I feel like at every turn, especially as the elections approach, you find people saying, no, I'm not going to be here next year for the elections. I'm leaving it. So it's a topic or a conversation that's going to be on for quite a while. Thanks for bringing your perspective. We're going to take a break now and be right back. Please stay with us.
Get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
All right, welcome back. There's no gainsaying the fact that Nigerian music at this moment is literally the most sought after sound across the world. And it makes the space even more competitive. A lot of people say you wake up every day and there's a new artist on the scene, and it's very hard to keep up these days. But some people still manage to shine as bright as their talent shows in very short time. And one of them is my guest here today, who in the last couple of years has suddenly become a name on a lot of people's mouths. Crayon from Avian Records. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Nice to meet you.
Nice to be here, man. Thanks a lot for coming. How's music treating you these days?
It's been amazing. It's been beautiful to see because, I've been working over the years, and now I'm finally getting, the recognition that I deserve. So it's beautiful to see amongst my fans, among my team, among everybody that know me personally.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited.
So when you say for a couple of years, when did this start for your music?
I started making music 2016 officially,
You're still in school at this time?
No, I wasn't in school.
Okay.
You know, I was trying to get into university.
Oh, you hadn't even gone into university?
Nah, I wrote jam 5 times.
I think I've heard the story. What happened? What kept happening?
You know, for the first 2 times I failed.
Okay.
And the rest of the 3 times I passed. You know, so I kept going to the school to like, you know, lay complaints like, what's up? Just give me.
But you just weren't getting admission.
I don't know. What is just happening for me? It was just. I feel like it was just God's. God, like,
of redirecting you.
You know, you feel me. So even before I started making music, I used to be a footballer. You know, I like football a lot. I used to play football. I used to go to like trainings, academy, and stuff like that. There's one time that, you know, I came for a screening in Surulere Stadium. You know, I was supposed to like go to Manchester United and stuff like that. But
can you imagine?
At the time, I didn't have like, you know, no connections, because football in Nigeria, I need connections. I don't want to start mentioning names right now because like it's crazy. But you know, I dropped my first song 2016. You know, with Ozediko's one name. And that's my brother. Like, we go way back. Like, he was the first guy that pressed record for me when I started making music. The first time I entered the studio, Ozediko was the guy that pressed record. And it was just learning music at the time, production-wise. So I dropped like my first song called Stay Loyal. You know, after that time, a lot of people liked it in the hood. I was going to birthday parties performing. I was getting girls in the hood. It was crazy. So, you know, like, you know what? I need to keep dropping. Because I didn't have no money at the time. I wasn't doing no specific job or stuff like that. So my mom used to be like, you know, a popular fruit seller in Yanoba called, yeah. She used to sell fruits.
Fruits?
Yeah, carrots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she said carrots, she said cucumber, all those things like that. So I used to always follow her to the market, steal some money. You know, she used to complain because she knew that.
He said steal some money.
He used to complain because she knew that, you know, this boy has something that he's doing. At least he's not in school yet, but he's doing something. So I recorded like 7 songs in a space of like a year and like 2 months. And one of the songs got to like, you know, Maven. I wasn't on Instagram or anything like that because I didn't have a smartphone. I used to use one.
So where were you dropping your music?
I used to use one. You know, Ozediko was the guy.
Okay, who was doing?
Dropping the music for me on SoundCloud, all those things. He used to charge me like 5K for mixing and mastering, recording, beat making, artwork, everything for 5K at the time. But for other artists, he charged them higher. But for me, it's like, bro, I believe still will go somewhere. You understand? So just record like that. I was the first artist, you know, that got my song played on radio. Ozediko's like the first artist produced for that got his song played on radio.
Nice.
I didn't pay the guy any money. He was just playing it because he loved the songs. So at the time, I was getting so much love, and nobody saw me on Instagram. I didn't do a freestyle on Instagram because I was using one. I don't know if you know this Nokia touchlight phone that has this orange lining. Yeah, and it's like.
Oh my God.
So I used to like use my friend's phone to like log into my Instagram and Twitter and just upload my stuff and just go back offline.
Yeah.
So somebody called me from, one of my guys is dead now. His name is KOB. He's my biggest fan, you know, Joe, like, you know, crazy. You know, at the Much More studio we used to record, it was me, Ozediko, one of my guys called Nose, one of my guys called Soft, was one of my guys, Soft,
okay.
Bang Bang. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all together recording at the small studio. The small studio itself, Jenny the carry fan. It's crazy, you know. So because because my song was so good, even without promotion or anything, no manager, was just me. So I don't know how it got to Maven HQ. I think, and one of my guys called Sean Maven used to work on Maven and Ibuka at the time. So they were playing my song at the headquarters.
At the Maven headquarters.
Yeah, and it has like multiple speakers around the office. So when they're playing a song, everybody will be hearing it.
Yeah.
So I think Baby Fresh heard the song, and in DM he was like, "Bro, come with your producer and your material. I want to see you tomorrow."
What song was this that was being played? Do you know?
I think it was called Rihanna.
Okay.
Yeah, it's dope. It's actually sounding dope now, right now. So I don't know. Someone just called me. I think my guy called KOB called me. He's passed now. He called me like, "Bro, they want to see you from Maven tomorrow." They sent me a call.
What year was this now?
It was 2017, like towards December.
Did you believe that it was real or it was a scam?
Bro, I thought like, bro, are you serious? He's like, yeah, you didn't want me. I said, bro, which one you you tell me all this one? How? Where? Like, so I called Ozediko's one name, and it's like, bro, they go Maven tomorrow. Like, huh? Where? How? I'm like, bro, they say they go Maven tomorrow. So I checked, you know, I actually used like one of my friends' phone to check my DMs again. I saw Baby Fresh's verified page. And I'm like, bro, it's actually serious. That night, I couldn't sleep. Like, you know, I was talking to my mom. Everybody was happy. Everybody was excited. my mom actually gave me transport fare to, Maven that day. So as soon as we got to, what's it called? I think Admiralty Way, that Lekki Peninsula.
Yeah.
Means that they go to fly back from that place, reach the Maven, streets, the estate. So
Yeah.
as we're walking, we're just talking like, bro, it's actually real. Is this real? Until I saw the Maven logo outside.
The sign.
It's actually real.
So was Don Jazzy there the day you got there?
I'm coming to that. So as we got to the venue, we went inside, at the reception. Me and Zodikos were just chilling. And we just kept waiting, like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And the AC was so cold because we're not used to it. Zodikos stepped outside. It's like, bro, I got collect son a big.
They were not used to it.
I know people collect all this AC. So it was crazy. So after like 3 hours, Baby Fresh came downstairs. It was Jalamia. It was like, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. I'm like, bro, nice to meet you. And he's like, okay, you guys want to go home or you guys want to go to the studio? I'm like, we don't reach here now. That's studio. So as soon as I opened the studio, it was Don Jazzy, Big N, Dr. Seed, almost everybody. I was like, bro, it's real. Straight up, I went to the floor, baba. It's like, no, sit down, sit down. So I just sat down close to him. He was like, okay, Baby Fresh, play me stuff, because he was Baby Fresh that brought me to, so he started playing my song. And there was this song that caught his attention. It's called Long Truth. And Tega was there at the same time too. He was like, okay, I like this one. I want to work with you. I love your sound and I want to see what we can do for you. So just keep coming around, but just keep coming around. So stuff like that. So I used to come from Milan, spend like 3 days, go back to Milan, come again. I used to do like that for like a while. And then like 2018, I moved in fully into the HQ. So nobody promised me anything like, we're going to sign you. We were just like, okay, we love you, want to work with you. So I was just there. I was the first young artist to come at the time. That time, I just started doing the Academy P.
Yeah.
So I was there. Rema came as well. London came from Kaduna to Prestige, all of us. We were just there. So that's how we keep finding our sound. Just finding my sound. Because all I had there was just a talent.
Yeah.
So I needed to learn the music business, how to work with your A&R team, how to be a proper artist, imagery, all the stuff. So for me, it was like a school for a year. I was just there finding my sound. I had So Fine, Gokam, all those records before. Yeah,
already?
Yeah, like Rema had Do Me Beat too as well. So when we used to record then, it was crazy because a lot of artists was Amave at the time. Like a Tiwa, Ricardo, Courage, Aya. So you don't have time to record. You usually record at 4 a.m. in the morning. Just open the studio. I want to do this to do.
I go catch my time.
Catch my time, And I want to say big shout out to Maven for that platform. For me, it was it was so good, And my mom too. My parents were so understanding. They keep calling me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I said, "I do alright for you. I do alright."
That's.
So 2019, I got unveiled. And boom.
That's a very, very good story. That's a very, very good story. Nice to hear that. Before 2016, though, was it just football for you? Was music in your plan at all before 2016?
It was just football.
So you didn't even have plans for music?
At all.
So what made you even think about it?
I know I could sing.
Yeah.
I used to be in choir.
But you never explored it?
But I never really explored it. Okay, there's one time that, I linked up one of my friends. It used to be like, in every hood, there's this fresh boy that's always the guy that's fresh to mingle with. So he took me to ShopRite for the first time in Ikeja City Mall. So we were just talking, and it's I'm like, bro, I really want to make music. He was like, why? I'm like, this football team is going to take a long time for me to even get popping because football in Nigeria is like this, but music, you can easily just get up. It's not easy, but football and music, if you judge it,
but with music is dependent on you. With football, there's too many factors.
Too many factors. So I'm like, bro, I want to start making music. He's like, okay, cool. Just start writing music first before you go to the studio. So I just started writing songs on my booklet. The time my dad caught me, at midnight, I was supposed to be reading for my jam. I was writing songs. I was like, you're writing music.
That's why you failed the first two. You're writing music.
I was just writing music. So, so for me, I just I legit prayed about it. God, please just show me who I am. I don't want to go into something that wouldn't, favor me. Just show me who I am.
Yeah.
And legitly,
So you dumped the whole idea of going to school at that point, obviously.
It wasn't I dumped it. It was after my 5th jam. I was at Unilag. I was writing my post-TME exams. And Unilag was crazy. Everybody wants to go to Unilag. All the students were there. They know the story. It was crazy. We were there for from around 7 a.m. to 4. And we never even went to exam yet.
Wow.
Yeah, girls were fainting. Everybody was congested. It was crazy. We had to like break the what's it called, the
Intro.
gates to enter the exam hall. So we were there, we were just sitting down. Then I already made me very patient on Jazzy. So I knew I was headed somewhere. So I was just sitting down in the exam hall, just thinking to myself, like, do I really want to do this? Like, am I sure I'm going to be able to juggle music and school? How am I going to even cope?
Yeah.
Like, how? I was just thinking, like, I just stood up and I walked out. And everybody was looking at me like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why would you even like walk out of the exam hall when you waited for so long? Just right now, I'm really good now, all this kind of piece. So I walked out, and that was the biggest.
That was it.
That was the biggest.
What did your parents say?
I didn't tell them. They don't know. Maybe they watch the video, they will know. I didn't tell them that I didn't write the exam. I told them that I wrote the exam, and I gave them the usual formats that my name didn't come out for the admission list. It was crazy. I didn't tell nobody. I only called one of my friends. His name is DJ Optimist. I called him. I'm like, bro, I just walked out. He was like, bro, are you serious?
So your parents just found out.
Bro, it's like, bro, you know what you just did? You just showed God that you're ready. You're ready. Just burn bridges. You just burn to bridge, and you're showing God that you're ready. That was the only guy I told. Like, I didn't have the confidence to tell my friends because like they look at me like you're just a serious person.
What are your parents saying about your career now? I mean, your dad caught you writing music. They probably wanted you to go to school, which is why you kept writing Jam over and over again. But now you're doing something completely off their plan, maybe. What were their thoughts at the beginning, and how do they feel now?
My parents, at the beginning, they've always been supportive.
Okay.
My dad, he even sponsored me to go for an academy. They've always been supportive for anything I wanted to do. But it's just that they wanted me to go to school and do anything I wanted to do. My parents have been super supportive. My mom used to give me money for studio sections sometimes. My dad as well. Even when I go to shows, my mom, she would complain with them, don't come back late at night too. If she go in the morning, she drop transport, low key. See, I see what. Just
doing
all on the side. So they've always been supportive. My mom is my biggest fan. My song is her ringing tone. She calls me every time. She's on my Instagram. She's calling me, I didn't see you. You go Ghana, I didn't see you. It's super, it's amazing, man, to have a blessing, such a blessing for your parents. Like
okay. But so I mean, the Don Jazzy moment happened. You got signed to Maven. What song do you think changed it for you and got you into people's consciousness or our eyes?
At first was So Fine.
Yeah.
It like introduced me to the game. Everybody know this Crayon, the guys can sing. But the song that I really like changed everything for me was Overdose. When Overdose dropped,
That was a great song. I'm sorry.
Overdose dropped, like the numbers started going up, and like the traction started going up, the pressure started going up, everything just started going up, price, everything. So for me, Overdose is that breakthrough record for me because like, it took me like 3 years to get to this point where everybody's is.
Did you write that song?
Music. No, I didn't.
Okay.
It's a song for everybody. They called me, my team called me, it's like, we want you to take the verse, the hook and the chorus. I was super excited. I go into the studio, I did my part. Everybody played their part, so I did my part. And it came out, and my part kind of like stood out on the song.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see, and everybody killed it. From
Everybody
Ira,
did it,
Lalipo, Magic, Voice Price, everybody killed it. So I'm grateful to God. I'm thankful to God.
Yeah.
For the song.
Then there's Ijo.
Laba.
Laba.
Yeah.
That song, I feel like it's probably TikTok's property at this point. I feel like every time I go on TikTok or put on a reel, the song is playing. What's the process for that particular record, and is there a pattern to how you sort of figure out your sound and music?
For me, when it comes to making music, it depends on my mood. If I'm feeling great, I make great records. If I'm feeling sad, I make a sad record. If I'm feeling in love, I'll make love songs. So for me and Sarah have been cool for a minute. We met at the gym 2019. Don't worry, I haven't been to the gym since that time.
It's allowed.
So we exchanged contact. I've been talking since then. And 2022, and I messaged him like, bro, I want to make a song with you. And he's like, okay, cool, let's link up. But I think I fell ill, and I went to the hospital, and then I came back, and I texted him again, like, I'm ready now. So he was in London. So when he came back, he texted me like, okay, bro, I'm in Lagos now, let's link. So I went to his house. That was my first time. I think that was my second time meeting SARS. I've always wanted to work with SARS because I have these sentimental reasons, because SARS is that guy that, you want to work with as an artist. So I linked up with him, and it's very, very like spiritual too. He doesn't work with anybody. He works with people that he connects with, So We link up in the studio. He played me like 5 beats. I already took the 5 beats on my phone. I'm about to start going on. He was like, come on, beat, just did my lap. We had never finished like that. We just did. A skeleton, I just playing everything I go like. So he played me the beats. He didn't have all the log drums or anything like that. I heard it. I just felt inspired immediately. I just started vibing with my phone. So like, okay, send me these beats. So I went back home. You know, I linked up one of the best songwriters in the game right now, Embryo. You know, we made the song together, and the dance that I did for Overdose actually inspired the song. You know, that I did that dance in Japa. So that's why it's called Ijo Labalaba. Ijo means dance, Labalaba means butterfly. So it's a butterfly hand movement. You know, so the dance actually inspired the song, and Ijo is a feel-good music.
Yeah.
You know, it feels good. You listen to it, you want to dance. At the same time, it has like affirmations to it, like different meanings. And it also has like different cultural influences from Ghana. I said Kweku, that's Ghanaian. I said Vuvuzela, that's South African. I said Ijo, Yoruba. I said Pidgin. I said this now Sogu, that's Igbo. So it has like...
So it's like a mesh of different cultures.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break now and we're back. Please stay with us.
Get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
Awesome stuff now. So the Maven group has so many artists, and virtually everyone is doing amazing, right? And the music industry, as a larger part of everything, is also crazy right now. We see what's happening. Everybody's on tour, everybody's performing, everybody's making money, and releasing records after records. So there's a lot of competition, even in-house for you, whether you like it or not. There's artists, like you said, you met in the academy, who are also out there now doing their own thing. So when you see that competition, is there pressure on you, to sort of meet a certain standard, or are you just inspired by things?
To be honest, I'm inspired. I'm a team player as well. I tweeted something one day and I said, everybody on my team is winning. It feels like Real Madrid, for real. It feels like an all-star team. Everybody's winning. Reman's winning. Aristar's winning. I'm winning. Magic's, Boy Spice, Ladipo, Johnny Drill. Everybody's performing, killing it. Jazzy even tweeted something a couple of days ago. He said, all my artists are booked and busy.
I saw that.
I felt like, it's beautiful. So I'm inspired by everybody on the label to even do more stuff, because I feel like even before I got signed, it's been this family orientation they've given to me. Like it's not a competition; it's more like a family. We all help each other to grow. So that's how I feel. Yeah,
awesome stuff. I wanted to ask what kind of genre of music you do, but I guess, would you just say Afro pop? Is that what you do?
Yeah, I do Afro beats.
Yeah.
I do Afro pop. For me, I have this crazy ideology in my head that, that's Crayon. When you get a pack of Crayon, it's like different colors inside. That's what my music is, like different sounds in one pack. And from that pack,
a little bit of everything.
You understand? From primary color, you can mix it and get secondary color. You can mix secondary color and primary color and get tertiary color, and it keeps going like that. So that's what my music is, like different sounds in one.
What should we expect from you? Is anything coming this year? Body of work next year? What are you working on?
Is a Maven All-Star album coming before the end of the year? Definitely, I'm gonna drop another single. And also there's a Maven single coming again. So that's basically for me. I'm just dropping bangers, performing, making money, do everything I got to do to make sure I stay up there. So definitely.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Is there woman drama in your life now? Because you're not flying Okada to Maven HQ anymore. Your life is changed, so attention is different.
Definitely. But for me, like, it is what it is, man.
It comes with the territory as an artist. Women, attention is part of the lifestyle, right? Are you single now?
I'm single right now, but I hope that I find someone special.
Oh, you're looking?
Not like I'm looking. I want to stumble. When you kick,
let it just happen.
Just stumble and you fall in love.
You don't mind it happening.
I don't mind it happening. That would be beautiful.
Nice, man. Congratulations on everything. Very excited by your career. I'm a huge fan. You know that already anyway. So looking forward to much more from you, Crayon. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break now and we're back. Please stay with us.
Get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove. Get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
Welcome back to the show. Now, exactly a month from today, campaign season will begin, and of course a lot of our candidates from all the political parties for whatever position will start giving us the reasons why we should vote for them. And I think it's very important that we pay attention to the things they say and how to hold them accountable to that. We're going to be talking about leadership and what leadership should look like, especially in 2023. And I have here with me Comrade Olufemi Lawson. Thanks for being here today. Yes, I always like to ask this question because, we hear a lot of promises in times like this, and we're going to hear a lot of them between September and February when the elections are coming. But my question is always, how do we know what to believe, and how do we, most importantly, hold these leaders accountable when they get into office? Is it a citizen issue? Are we doing the wrong things, or like they say, the systems and institutions are not even strong enough for people to be held accountable?
Good morning, thank you.
Yeah.
I think where we are now should have taught us a lot of lessons as Nigerians, and I think going into 2023, it should not just be about campaign promises any longer from the political class, from the political parties, from the candidates. What do we really want as Nigerians should be the focal point of our movement into 2023. A lot of times we have gone into elections, we have supported candidates, we have voted candidates on the basis of what they are bringing, no matter how irrelevant they sound to be for us as Nigerians. But I think 2023, considering the current situation of the country, must be about what do we really deserve and what do we really want as Nigerians. I don't think it should be about which candidate is bringing or what political party is bringing any longer. If we go into that, if we go along that route, 2023 will not produce, I want to emphasize, will not produce anything different from what we have experienced, particularly in the last 23 years of democracy.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk about, the fact that a lot of this is on us as citizens. We are not probably doing enough. We like to use the word Nigerians are resilient, but sometimes it's the wrong word because we just tend to, as things get harder, we adjust. And it's against pushing back on government, I know there's a lot of talk about it. It's a military hangover. We had so many years where authority was the style of leadership as against service. Is that mentality going to ever change? Even though some people say it's even changing already. We saw what happened in October 2020 with NSAS. There seems to be a difference this time as the elections are approaching. Do you feel that difference?
I strongly feel that 2023 will make a different statement from our past. It will make a different statement to the extent that if you see how much more Nigerians are beginning to take strong and serious interest in the electoral process, if you see how much more the political consciousness and education of our people are becoming, I would want to believe that 2023 will it may not totally take us to the expected destination, but I'm very sure it will be different from the past, especially when you look at the fact that in the past it has always been about the wishes of the political class, the aspiration of the politicians. Unlike what do we really want as Nigerians? Nigerians are no longer sitting back.
Yes.
And now followership is beginning to play a very fundamental role outside what leadership has always dictated in the past. And I think this will impact on the outcome of not only the presidential election in Nigeria, but even elections up to the grassroots level come 2023.
Yeah. I want to ask about holding accountable because you work an executive director of Center for Public Accountability. So I want to know, what are the options open to a Nigerian who wants to hold government accountable? We talk about social media a lot, but we also hear sometimes from government that people are just shouting in that small space. Protest are some other ways. But these two things have been tried by Nigerians and it almost feels like they are not as effective. How do people hold government accountable? Or leaders?
I don't usually agree with those who think social media has not been effective or protest has not been effective. Whether anybody likes it or not, the voices on the social media today have made a lot of impact, have dictated a lot of policy changes in Nigeria today. Protests, particularly the NSAS protests you referred to, have made its own role impact as far as policies are concerned in Nigeria today. What other option are we left with, which we must employ now, is election.
Yes.
We have seen a situation whereby more than ever, the young people of Nigeria are coming out to participate in the process. In the past, there has always been the older women, the older men coming out to register during elections, coming out. But today, For a country where over 70% of its eligible population, voters
young.
population are now young people, you must expect something different, except you are deceiving yourself. So for those who think it's all about social media noises, it's all about your protest, they should expect something new. And that is one viable option I think Nigerians are going to be exploring come 2023. It's not going to be limited to what they term as noises, which are not really noises, but making its impact. And you look at the global support that our advocacies, that the agitation of young people are gathering on the basis of their impact on the social media. Only an unserious person will say it's all about noises.
Yeah.
If you look at the impact that the protests are beginning to make, only unserious people. So let those who are of the illusion that they are mere noises wait until the population of our young people, troop out in 2023 and really make the statement, of course, and get people elected into positions.
Okay, now I want to find out very quickly now. When we hear a lot of these candidates, especially at the presidential level, a lot of the conversations we hear is whose turn is it, or what region it should take it, or what religion or tribe. It seems like the conversation is on that level. But as a voter now, what do you look out for, you as a person? What are you looking out for, especially for 2023? The economy is in tatters. Insecurity is rife everywhere. There's so many issues around us. What's most important, or what should be most important on the voter's mind while listening to those candidates?
But at one point or the other, the average Nigerian have been culpable of being, interested in what region, what tribe, what religion the
whether it's my person
comes from. But where Nigeria is, every patriotic Nigerian at this point must be interested in the policies and programs of the next president. Nigeria is at a point that we have never been. Of course, we are at a point of the most period of uncertainty is where we live in now. So for now, no Yoruba president, Igbo or Hausa will come to the rescue without the competency, without the clear-cut, defined policy and programs that will rescue Nigeria. Nigeria needs to be rescued, and 2023 is going to be a defining moment. And that is why the next president will be decided on the basis of manifestos, their policies and programs, especially those that will rescue Nigeria from this security situation we find ourselves, that will rescue our economy from this very dangerous bend it has taken, and of course, stabilize the polity as urgent as possible.
When you look at the list of candidates, are you hopeful or are you worried?
I'm very optimistic that Nigerians are faced with a lot of capable options, especially when you look at candidates of the major political parties. And I think Nigerians, particularly the young people who owns the ace, who are going to constitute the majority of the voting population, are going to make the right choice, are going to elect candidates that will rescue Nigeria. We need to just save this country.
Thank you very much. And I think a lot of people need to be paying attention in the next couple of months, because a lot of lies will be told.
Seriously.
A lot of false promises will be made. We've heard that before, so it's very important that everybody's perceptive and understands what they need to pay attention. And thanks a lot for being here today. But like I always say, you can follow the conversation on Twitter. Please use the hashtag RubbinMinds when you send us a message. I'll see you next time.